Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Friday Night Magic tournament from Lost Legion Games and Comics in South Charleston, West Virginia. We join our round one game already in progress as we've had some significant technical difficulties tonight, so I apologize for that. We haven't missed much. We'll get everything up and running shortly. But in the meantime, my name is Zachary Evans. Tonight, unlike in many weeks past, I have a full house in here.
Heck yeah.
I have one Mr. Sam Hanna
Welcome to the rock.
and Jordan Pectyo, who will be joining us tonight on commentary. Let's talk a little bit about what's going on the actual match. On the left, we got Nick. It's Nick Reid, right?
Yeah, he's playing lands.
Nick Reid. We did have. We have. I have it as Bant control, but it's more likely a Bant midrange. I hate it when I have all this stuff. I come so early and I get everything set up so quickly.
Well, I think the game's almost over. There's two lands on one side, and there's a Thragtusk and a Restoration Angel on the other side.
Yeah.
That seems like positive board position.
Yeah.
It is not looking good for the player on the right, which is Troy King, and he is playing Jund.
Well, he somehow dug himself out of it. I mean, it's not the best position, but
he's
still
just
not
down.
good.
It's a. He's now just facing off against a beast token. So hopefully everything is working fine.
I think actually I know Troy's deck is inspired by the Spirit Jund deck in Modern. I think is what he told me once.
Does it even have the spirits in it? Oh, it does, because he played Isolated Chapel.
Yeah. It splashes light for just the Lingering Souls, but I'm not sure if it does it for anything else. Which I'm not sure.
It does. No, it's just for Lingering Souls.
I put up with that a couple of times on Cockatrice, and it looked like four colors, but then I realized, oh wait, no, it's just Jund and a splash for white for the Lingering Souls, Goblet Shrines and whatnot.
Yep. So
And
again,
scoop him up.
yeah, I have no idea what happened because I'm.
I think Troy got land screwed, like he had a two-land hand and just didn't draw anything. So
Well, it's inevitable that whenever I try to get a feature match, it inevitably ends in like 6 minutes, and then I have to run out there and try to find someone else. So we've started off. So here's what's happened so far tonight. I got here 2 hours early, like I normally do. Got everything set up in record time. In fact, when the staff came to ask me if I needed any help setting up, like they usually do, I had already finished everything, literally everything. Said, no, I'm good to go. I even got in some trades. Come back, get ready to set up. Sam had been in here being kind enough to keep my computer from going into screensaver mode, which does completely foobar the entire operation, I've learned. And then I come in, and then the internet's gone. And then I reconnect internet, and it's gone again. Reconnect internet, gone again. But the fourth time it took. And then in that time, we saw a feature match game that lasted 3 minutes exactly.
Indeed.
So that's going great. Off to a good start. Oh, I forgot to mention that our feature one match dropped as soon as we picked him. We had a particular individual who had some unexpected plans crop up literally the moment that Jordan asked him to play on camera. So we're running really hot today.
We are ball joining it, the inflexible is all.
So you'll have to endure the sound of my keyboard typing as I type up the feature match tweet. See, it's a little service I provide that I don't know how many people take advantage of it, but I do tweet out whatever the matchup is. So if you don't want to watch the entire thing, you can at least know what's available.
Who doesn't want to be bothered by watching internet videos like the whole way through? I mean, it's just a tiring, grueling process, really.
10 minutes on an internet video is like an eternity.
Yeah. My humor will come back after I get defrazzled.
Indeed.
It's so frustrating. So frustrating. So, how many people are playing tonight? 28?
27.
28 people put their $5 in. One person just left. Now tying resident EDH patriarch Dave Brown for the quickest exit from a tournament. The paying $5 then dropping. Seems like a poor strategy for those of you attending Star City event tomorrow.
He is going undefeated.
Sam, I've been undefeated for the last 6 months at FNM.
That's a record that I don't think.
What's ironic, I can say this. I have not played in the last 14 months of Friday Night Magic events. I am undefeated. Because I've only played in 2. One of them I actually won. And the other one, I went 3-0-1. So I am undefeated at over a year of Friday Night Magic events.
Huzzah.
I will be putting that on my tombstone.
What would you
Actually, that's one of my favorite things to combat general assholery in Magic is that I always say that being good at Magic is not something I want to be known for when I'm dead. It's like, oh, Zachary passed away. Man, that guy was really good at Magic. That's
all I can think of.
imagine them wizard fights so good.
That's not what I want to lead
Well,
with.
actually, they just had a video that Star City put out called, like, Made or something.
Yeah, I did see that out. That's my first recap post of the night. So Ruben Bresler, the resident comic of the of Star City Games coverage, he's put out a parody of MTV's Made series, in which he is a successful businessman, but he really wants to be a professional Magic player. So it just plays on a lot of the stereotypes. I'll post a link to that
So true.
on our Facebook page, which you can view later on, facebook.com/ZachSellsMagic. Here's a pro tip. You go to ZachSellsMagic.com. It will redirect you there.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So we are on to round 2 here. We didn't get to see much out of either player's deck.
But don't go to Zach Sells Facebook. That's a little, they sell different things.
ZachSellsFacebook.net.
It's actually a scam.
Selling Monopoly.
What does Troy have in play? Troy's played something.
Troy has played a Deathrite Shaman off of an Overgrown Tomb, which came into play untapped, dropping his life total to 18 points.
But that doesn't mean it has to stay there.
So
That's what Shaman does work.
If I remember correctly from Troy's list, which ironically I think I looked at his old list this week when I was sorting. I've been trying to, people always ask for deck lists, and I've been trying to organize them in a way that can archive them for future use. I think he plays 2 Deathrights in the main, and I think he might have some more on the sideboard. Obviously, against the Snapcaster deck, it's very good.
It's also just effective at bleeding. Like, if you can get stalemates and you can just bleed your opponent dry with...
It is a source of damage, you're exactly right.
Yeah, you can nickel and dime and get around all the...
Yeah, I'm going to... you feel free to talk about this wizard fight. I'm going to go change the background color on that life total.
Dokes. Alright, so we have Eligering Souls, which resolved. It looks like Farseed got out early. And he's coming
So
over.
bad for Drew. Drew, who was going to play the other feature match participant, he's just kind of sitting out there, like, watching. Because he came to play Magic, but then didn't work out for him.
Sometimes that happens. Oh, Elixir ain't gonna do much when your graveyard's getting eaten.
Dave Brown's favorite Magic card, Elixir of Immortality, seeing a lot of play in a lot of different archetypes.
It's a fourth of your life in Standard.
Well, what I would really like to see happen is if he uses that Deathrite Shaman to get like a land or something to ramp, but that never doesn't really happen ever. But
Well, not in this part.
did he slaughter games?
It looks like it, yes. That's
Yeah.
a Slaughter Games.
So-
What's Shouty name? I'm thinking Thrag.
Don't count it.
That's what...
No, he's just going to cycle his Azorius Charm. I'm not sure why you do that, because he's never going to name Azorius Charm.
And you'd rather hold the
And
information back.
yeah, and God forbid you draw a Thragtusk off the Azorius
Oh
Charm.
my God,
It's
yeah,
the worst
that's-
possible thing.
yeah.
Like, that's the old trick that if you surgical someone or extirpate them in Modern or Legacy, you always do it during their draw step, because they can't respond. It's still in an inconvenient time.
Yeah.
But they've already drawn, so that if they just happen to draw the card that you're surgically, it's a very small thing, but it's like a very, very reasonable kind of thing. Anytime you you can go back and forth on these memoricide effects or cranial extraction effects, whether they're good or they're not. But regardless of whether you like them or not, when you live the dream and catch them with one in their hand, it feels very good.
Well, that's like Cabal Therapy. Isn't it common to, like, sometimes you can brainstorm, take the 2 items you really need from your hand and put them back on top. That way you're not, like, you can maybe just get lands in your hand and kind of put up a shield, kind of, or something. Like, that's the only time I think you're going to respond is when you're rearranging what's in your hand, not draw into my action, because he's going to name my Azorius Charm and really knock out my draw power here.
That would be great if you ever, like, I don't know how often random discard effects come up in Legacy. It seems like...
Hymn to Turk. No, it's a very, very legitimate thing. In response to any discard spell, you brainstorm, hide what you don't want them to take. That's why Brainstorm is the best card in Magic.
Yep.
Well, it's the best fair card in Magic, and some would argue if it's fair anymore.
Well, here comes another Slaughter Games. Probably naming whatever else he didn't like in his hand.
Yeah. As someone pointed out in the chat, our friend Kim Hotep there, it's not really mid-range anymore once you take the track test. But it does look like he's playing more of a control variant. He has the Alchemist Refuge. He has the Drown Yard there, you see. Did he wait, did he get another Slaughter Games off one?
He's gotten 2 off. He did.
I should really pay attention to my own stream.
Did he get Sphinx's Revelation? I bet he did. I bet he got Sphinx's Revelation.
That looks like a Sphinx's. Yep, that's a Sphinx's.
Yep. I apologize, guys, if you can't see this.
No, that's
but
okay.
This is a live one, obviously.
Which, I know we're not going to talk about it now, but I would say maybe sell those guys now before Skullcrack comes out and maybe changes how effective it is for you.
It's still good. The thing about, we'll talk about spoilers a little bit later, but the thing about Skullcrack, which is a new card from Gatecrash, that's been spoiled, that basically says you can't gain life. It's a everlasting torment type effect.
Is it for this?
The key is that you have to have, for that turn, the key is that you have to find a deck that wants to play 4 of those.
I think maybe as a 2-of or something for whenever you go to Alpha Strike. Some decks are just way too willing to hold out on their Sphinx's Revelation to save themselves, draw under all their answers kind of deal. You can just catch them with their pants down and be like, well, you're actually just dead. And it's also 3 damage.
You can get that card advantage though, bro.
Look at that Rakdos return. Come on, say bye to your hand.
So Rakdos return 4/3, and Nick doesn't have a counterspell. So this is pretty brutal. But here's the thing, and we talked about this extensively in some previous weeks. Like, here's the thing about Slaughter Games. Slaughter Games seems great, but he took 2 cards that obviously got a lot of theoretical value in the sense that he made him discard 1 Thragtusk. The Thragtusk and the Sphinx's Revelations aren't in his deck anymore. But he has no way of winning the game right now. You know what I mean? Yeah, this, of course, I mean, now he plays Thragtusk to make me look like an idiot.
You get rid of their Thragtusk, then you play yours, and then it's like, it's not a mirror anymore.
Yeah, it's just one of those weird things where there's probably some right number of those member side effects to play, but there's always
I think it's a good way.
I'd like it a lot more in the Jund deck than I do in the Rakdos decks. In the Rakdos decks, like every Slaughter Games you put in the deck is just another card that's not doing damage. Like you're racing. You're not trying to get to a long game. It makes a lot more sense, I guess, in the Jund deck, since you are trying to two for one. So you're basically a 1-for-1 deck, and being able to take out their best, X for ones is pretty good.
We're also fitting it in there to get information sometimes too, because now, like, if you do a post board, you're learning everything they sided out against you, sided in, and I find that information can be crucial. As long as you're not running 4 Slaughter Games, God forbid. Like, that would be...
Like saying I experimented around with a Grixis Epic Experiment deck that ran 4 Slaughter Games. It was not good by any measure, but it was a little bit fun.
Slaughter Games effects are always good, but Slaughter Games itself doesn't always end up being good, if that makes any sense.
Because, I mean, late game...
You're always happy when you resolve it, but then the next turn when you wish that had been another card, like when you wish it had been a Hellrider or a Livy Voldarin or even a Dregmangler, the slower your deck is, the better it is.
Indeed.
I mean, there's a lot of Rakdos like aggro lists that have not at the pro level, but they just go they just fan out the sideboard. It's got 4 Slaughter Games in it, and it's just like, what? Like, that card doesn't kill your opponent. Every card in your deck should try to kill your opponent. We might get lucky here and get a game 3, because Nick clearly up against it. He has managed to draw out of it in the sense that he's drawn 3 cards since the turn he had his hand mine twisted away. But he's still at 11 life, facing down a Beast token.
And there's also lingering souls in the yard, isn't there?
From Troy?
Yeah.
There's a white card over there.
He should still have his souls, because I know he played it, then all the stuff got terminused away, and then...
Has he forgotten about it?
I don't know.
Because last turn he didn't play any land. Here's an interesting thing here where we've got, we're going to see an angel come down here and eat the token.
Yep.
Nick does have his copy of Alchemist Refuge as well, so that's going to be able to give him...
some added utility with
Yeah,
Flash.
yeah. Searing Spear finishes off the Restoration Angel. Dissipate takes care of a Huntmaster. And now, and here's exactly what I was talking about. Despite being so far ahead, Troy is now hellbent. Does he just forget that he has that Lingering Souls in that
Well, he
card?
might also hold it back for pressure. Like,
Well, what is he doing now?
I mean, I think he tapped out last turn, didn't he?
Yep. No, he just forgets he has it, I think. Or it's not one. End of turn Farseek.
Did he use the refuge to do it? Bam.
Yep.
Power of the Refuge.
I'm really happy that land is seen play.
Refuge?
Yeah, I thought it was really cool.
I thought, when I saw that card, much like every card I see spoiled, I thought, well, that's good in EDH.
Yeah.
And it is good in EDH, but the ability, I mean, any of those ley line of anticipation effects, like being able to flash in your spells, it just gives you so much utility.
We aren't sure about Flashback Souls. One day, we'll all know. They'll tell us.
Mm-hmm.
It isn't going to kill him next turn, so maybe he's worried about
I think it's just very simple. I think he's just forgotten that it's there.
We got Olivia now, so I mean, unless it gets countered.
No, it's stuck. But we're gonna
On your turn, decisions here. Now, question: does he play Abrupt Decays or Bulgari Charms? Because those take care of
I think he plays Abrupt Decays. Did he play one in the first game?
I'm not sure. I think he played Dreadbore.
Nah, you might be right. Yeah. Well, I mean, the good news in all of this is, I hate it. I hate it so
It's the
much.
top deck land.
Yeah, and we're going to the mill plan here. There's the Abrupt Decay, so... This is an interesting point here, too, because when Nick inevitably mills a Lingering Souls, Troy will remember the other Lingering Souls and will...
Yeah, and then
So-
be like, hey.
Look at all that land.
Is that every Farseek in...
I think so.
This would be a pretty brutal... If Nick comes back and wins this game, it'd be pretty brutal, because Troy has done pretty good. There it is.
Yep. I mean, there's still time. He's got plenty more cards in his library.
He could have won the game at this point.
Indeed.
But to be quite fair, like Nick probably would have used the D-Sphere on it, but that being said,
Then
Olivia would have stuck.
Which is good for Troy.
About 8 turns too late, but Lingering Souls does make an appearance.
A good card is a good card anytime. It's a lot better when you play it when you're supposed
It's a
to.
very good Magic card. I was not thrilled when it was printed, but I wasn't thrilled when many things are printed. We talked about it last week, but I am, as we see a very spicy Drown Yard from Nick there, I do hate everything.
Don't lay the land.
Well, see, here's the thing. Like, it might be good enough, like, because Nick doesn't seem to have any business. Like this, whatever this is not resolving.
Yup.
But see, that's the beauty of it. Counter it. I'll just play it again.
Well, unless it's a dissipate.
Or sink.
Ooh, that's even better. Draw a card.
Mm-hmm.
See, he did the money.
Yeah.
That one's good.
Look, I got more spirits. All my spirits, I got them.
And now you can just flash that back with no fear.
He won't flash it back this turn.
Well, I
I also would not have played the Death Ray, I don't think. I mean,
he's gonna drain him, though. If it can survive, it can just start draining him.
Right, but I mean, he just loses here to a board wipe effect. So I want to keep as many answers as I have. It's almost like I was talking about there.
Yep.
I see people talking in the chat about the 3 mana for 1/1s. I think why he uses it is like why you can use it in Jund or whatever. It's for Liliana, so that you can start discarding and getting value out of your cards.
He just uses it. He just uses it as a tempo card. I mean, his deck doesn't do anything until turn 4. So I mean, it's the same reason why they play it in Modern. I'm not saying it's good, bad, or otherwise, but it's not. If we're having, that's actually crucial. He just flipped the Devil's Play.
Ooh.
So it's like.
So he could be dead next turn unless he has a counterspell. Oh, there's an elixir, so puts him effectively up to 14. 7 off the attack. And there's another Souls. Do you know?
Flashback the Lingering Souls?
It wasn't. He flashed back the Lingering Souls that was already in his bin.
Yeah.
That one was just milled at end of turn.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Nick shouldn't do anything here. Nick should just try and stabilize and win the game. Like, with the Drown Yard, I should say. Everyone should try and win the game. That's a groundbreaking. Sigarda. Block a soul, go to 6. Now, you flash back your Devil's Play for as much as you can.
Lingering Souls.
That was a Devil's Play. I'm not, like, losing my mind, right?
No, I think he had it. It's just a matter of him getting to the point where it's going to be effective, because he also has to have the mana to do 6.
Yeah, it's 3 reds and a flash. Thanks.
He paid 2 life for the thing. He's going to go for it.
He didn't pay 2 life, but if he...
Well, he had to. It's the blood grip.
I know, but if he taps that mana... I think he put it into play tapped, but he's not going to use it this turn. If he ends up using it this turn, I'll go out there and adjust the life total. I think he just put it on his yeah, it doesn't matter. Well, go. So I mean, we'll see if it matters. I need to go and tell him that.
Searing Spear yet?
He's
Milling himself.
So in response, he's milling himself. Does he have another flashback card?
I love he's like, you got it? Ooh, I think he got there.
So that's game 2. So there wasn't, like, no one won anything. Yeah. So that game was very weird. I still feel like really flustered. I don't know. I'm not in my zone this week, like I was last week. I was in the zone. Showed up. I'd been sick as a dog all week. Showed up. Wasn't in the greatest mood. Then really got there. But this week I was in a good mood to start. Internet getting me down. Internet getting me down. You know what's not getting me?
Did you go to the danger zone? Because that could have been the problem.
Well, they have recently constructed a highway. You know who doesn't let me down? That obviously is the fine folks here at Lost Legion Games and Comics, who are kind enough to let us hijack their FNM every week and broadcast it live over the internet to you. Lost Legion has 4 convenient locations in the West Virginia area: Parkersburg, Princeton, Beckley, and right here in beautiful downtown South Charleston in the Antique District. Not just magic, they specialize in... While your grandma is finding doilies and various knick-knackery, you can imaginary wizard fight with the best of them. And by best of them, I mean whatever randoms are playing here at Lost Legion Games and Comics. But not just specializing in magic, obviously board games, comics, miniatures, Warhammer, War Machine, D&D, Pathfinder Society, all kinds of good things. If you can play it, they support it here. We broadcast live every week, 6:30 p.m. Eastern. Twitch.tv/ZachSellsMagic is the stream site. If you're watching live now, we appreciate your support. And if you're watching after the fact on YouTube, make sure to check us out some week. You know what my slogan is?
I'm unaware.
I always say, if you can't make your FNM, come watch ours. Because it's solid. Because ultimately, what we want people to do is play their FNM. But this is a very interesting point that some of our viewers in Europe have pointed out. Like, we're kind of spoiled here in the sense that we have a very conveniently located. Yeah. Have I told you about my friend who actually Descent 101 in the chat there lives in Australia? It's like 2 hours to drive to FNM.
Oh my gosh.
So the 30 minutes I have to drive from my house, or more, like even worse, the 5 minutes I have to drive from where I work every day is, pales in comparison. So, people can't make their FNM, so this is a perfect outlet.
Well, that's just like Grand Prix and stuff, right? They didn't have European or other Grand Prix of sort of like that. Like they didn't have tournaments of that size for them, right? Last year. No,
they've always had They've always had Grand Prix around the world. It's just that they have more of them now.
Okay.
They've doubled the number of Grand Prix that they had to like 40 some. So there are several, and there's I think there's close to 10 in mainland Europe, and there's a couple in South America. There's one in Costa Rica this year. I think there's one in the Philippines as well. It's actually very convenient. We've talked about this in the past, that if you're on the west coast of Australia right now, it's like Oh, it's over 12 hours difference, so it's like lunchtime. So you can just hang out, eat a ham sandwich, watch some imaginary wizard fights from a bunch of crazy
ham
people.
Sandwiches?
Having lived in Australia, I can confirm
Okay.
what they do.
What about kangaroo sandwiches?
You know, I've eaten kangaroo. That is, I was told, was a very big misnomer. You know what kangaroo meat is most commonly used for? Dog food. It's not. It's like deer.
Yeah.
First of all, the animals are like giant nuisances. We think they're cute because they don't jump through our windshields while we're driving 70 miles per hour, or I should say 110 kilometers an hour down the road. Because they're very tall and they jump, so they're just like deer here in the States, like very conveniently located to your windshield level for maximum carnage. But I have had cubed kangaroo tenderloin.
So was it not good?
It was fine, but it wasn't like, I'd much rather have a steak.
Yeah.
Now alligator's pretty good.
Alligator is pretty good.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, my man Cameron in Australia is pointing out that it's 11:12 a.m. there.
So you still can't have lunch at 11:12 brunch?
So you're looking at 6. I don't think he was correcting. I think he was just filling in for us here.
No.
So about 16 hours difference. I lived in Perth, which is on the complete other side of the country, which was conveniently 12 hours exactly different from here. So it's the same time, just the wrong time of day.
See, now I don't know how they live there, because everything I've watched on Animal Planet and Discovery Channel and anything
There's
else
just
of that nature.
based on Animal Planet, there's just unlimited poisonous snakes rolling around.
Not just poisonous, the most. Everything's the
9 of the 10 most deadly snakes in the world live in Australia.
Everything was to kill you in Australia. Save the people, maybe. Actually, they were prison people, right? Not all of them.
At what point did tonight's FNM stream divulge into just a discussion of Australian history and geography?
I think it was the kangaroos.
Yeah, there's for those of you in the chat who are wondering why the Twitch stream is freezing, it's not doing real hot. There's something wrong with Twitch tonight as well. Because there's nothing wrong on our capture end, but we're really struggling as far as the broadcast goes. The best I can recommend is just reloading it possibly, but hopefully that will pick up here shortly. If and when I'm ever granted the hardwired internet connection, which I was promised 4 months ago, then this hopefully won't be an issue. But I really don't think it's a problem on our end. I think it's
Sutherland's fault.
Okay, so we're getting so they're saying the sound is fine, it's just the video is bad, and other people are commenting that the video has been bad all day on Twitch. So earlier today I had problems logging into the server. The server kept being down, so
Well, if they can hear us, and we do our jobs as commentators, which we probably won't, they could hope to maybe still get some information about the game.
Well, or at least about the greater geography and flora and fauna of the great country of Australia.
Indeed.
So again, I'm not sure exactly what's going on with the stream as far as Twitch goes, but if you bear with us, hopefully it will come back.
Turn 1 shaman again.
Yeah, so
Let's see if he gets to do work.
turn 1 shaman. It seems like it took a long time for them to sideboard shuffle and resolve mulligans.
Well, we see it first. Maybe Nick is on the tap land kind of hand, because it looks like he's played 2 glacial and hinterland, which is not really where you want to be, because it just kind of stifles your whole fight.
Yeah, so these like obviously the land bases in Ravnica based standard are pretty awesome because you can pretty much do whatever you want to. That being said, if you don't have that first land if you don't have that dual land that has the basic land type you need for all of your Innistrad lands to come into play untapped, it is very brutal. Does Nick only have 2 lands?
Ways far sinking into 1 and then passing, I guess.
Like, that's a very, did he resolve them all again?
I don't think so. I thought they just took their hands. I don't know. Did you see Sam?
I did not.
So again, for those of you just joining us who are, I guess there's no video at this point. I'll stop and try and restart things here at the end of the round, but I don't know what to say because there's nothing I can do at this point. Everything on our end is working fine, or as fine as it can be. So back to the game here. Troy has done nothing but advance his mana base.
And he exits on the far seat to drain.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're seeing Resto Angel.
Yeah, it's telegraphing the Angel.
Okay.
Slaughter Games.
Take me guts.
Probably gonna go tomorrow.
You are? Try to seal?
Why do you not have a clock anymore?
No, I'm just asking. I still have time with the guys.
I see.
Alright, so Slaughter Games resolves again.
I feel like he goes for Thragtusk and Sphinxes every time, which is more Sphinxes. Okay.
I mean, why would I? I'm not trying to like needle you, but like I don't really see the point in Slaughter Games to anything else.
No, I understand. I'm just saying, like, that's what I figured you were going to go for.
If he'd gone for Thragtusk, he would have gotten one out of his hand, but Nick can't cast it, so there's a good chance he might get it next turn. Zach, how you doing, bud?
Hey, Zach. I was shopping, so I was unable to make this round one, or this round one, so sad.
Well, it's unfortunate that you couldn't come to FNM. We do appreciate you for propping up the American economy with your spending.
It wasn't really shopping I was super interested in, but I was compelled by forces greater than under my control, a.k.a. my mother. So
They will do that.
Many a greater man than you has fallen prey to the powers of one's matriarch. You've missed a very exciting stream. The internet is exploding. Nothing is working correctly. The first game ended in about 3 seconds, and we're talking about Australian geography.
Yeah, and fauna.
Australian geography?
Yeah, it's a weird day.
Is there a lot of geography in Australia? I guess it is its own continent.
Is there a lot of? How does one quantify geography? So we see Thragtusk come down for Troy to match the Thragtusk that Nick played last turn.
Let's see his Thragtusk and all creatures in the graveyard.
I guess maybe you could. It is round 2.
This is round 1.
You give me a loss play, I guess.
You could get in with in the loss bracket if you want.
The Defender door.
Mm-hmm. Oh, of course.
Defender.
It's so funny, it hurts.
So this is obviously a terminus. This is the this is a bit of a tell. I guess there's no real way of, unless you're very quick-witted and have already pre-made your decision, I guess there's no way in that situation to not inadvertently show. So we're gonna nug the we're gonna de-sphere the Deathrite Shaman, activate in response. That's a good thing about Deathrites in the Jund deck is you can not only has it incidental hate against the Snapcaster deck, but you've got so many sorceries that you can fuel your own goodies. So Dreadbore takes out the Angel. Is he going to offer the trade with the Thragtusk? I'm not sure I would at this point, because does Azorius Charm read blocking creature as well?
Yes.
Yeah.
That would be interesting to charm your own Thragtusk.
Well, I don't think he would charm it. I think he'd be afraid of Nick charming his when he attacked. Because as it stands right now, Troy is losing this race. End of turn, Abrupt Decay on Detention Sphere.
Okay. So it is on Nick's turn.
Mm-hmm.
I was about to say, I was like, oh, don't do it on your turn.
We're seeing some sneak over sweet trades from table 1 as the trade binder makes an appearance.
Which honestly, who put the FN to play? We should trade.
I traded some today. It was the first time I traded in forever. I also very much appreciate the people who are there's still 70 people watching our stream, which apparently has stop motion video and audio only. So I am very apologetic for that, but
It's a throwback to
very,
It's
very...
a claymation, Zach sells magic. It's not a bug, it's a feature.
People didn't know, but we're starting to do specials now.
Okay, so I'm getting another comment that there's another FNM stream is fine. So there's something wrong on my end. So I'll wait until the end of this game, and then I'll just restart the broadcast, and hopefully that will fix things. I'm also curious as to what the other FNM stream is.
Let's watch that. Commenting on their game.
Friday Night Wars, a la WCW, WWF.
That's what I'd like to see.
Another thrag test for Nick.
I now own Zach Sells Magic Productions.
Are y'all making Vince McMahon jokes back there?
Yes. Yes.
It's a very weird night. Forrest off the top for Troy, and the #1 pet peeve I have in Magic.
Well, he miracled it, so I mean...
He miracled that Zendikar full art Forrest. One of the most effective plays. So what's Troy's out here to this double Thrag Tusk? Obviously he can trade for half of one. More importantly too, these guys are probably to a certain extent playing against the clock. Well, there's a Drown Yard, which will help Nick close out the game, but does he have the Black Source in play?
What? Doesn't look like it.
Yeah, they usually play one copy of Overgrown Tomb.
Drown Yard just seems like it's such a long win condition, especially when the clock's involved here.
Oh, I totally agree with you. But once, if you're playing against somebody who's got Sphinx's Revelation and they get their life far out of your ass,
Sure.
But some people just don't, like, they don't care. They'll Revelation for like 10 or 20, and then, like, they have 10 cards left in their deck, and then they're like, oh.
That's certainly true.
Who gets the mirror?
So there's Azorius Charm.
I remember Drown Yard being a Sam Swisher special. It was his only win con in some decks. I haven't seen Sam in a long time.
So that's a very interesting play there. Nick did Azorius Charm, but he chose Lifelink mode to put him well ahead in the race. And then Troy chumped with his Deathrite Shaman, I think. Which seems pretty aggressive as far as blocking is concerned.
Do we have any idea what's in their hands?
Troy has upwards of 3 Magic cards, whereas Nick only has 2.
But he's got to think twice in the yard, so effectively.
Now, if he draws an Uno draw 4, what is that going to do for
Well,
us?
that is an immediate disqualification, but highlight of the millennium for the stream.
I mean, it's card advantage at its purest.
So it resolves. Might as well attack, I figure.
The saddest thing is when you see a Thundermaw Hellcat resolve and it just sit there. It's like,
Yeah,
oh.
I mean, this is almost one of those situations because, like, you're well behind in the race.
Well, he can
But,
get rid of the Thrag Tusk, and then if he has, like, some way of removing him from the yard, I don't think there's any Angels in Troy. Nick's deck is there.
Are you talking about, like, get rid of the Thrag Tusk as it goes to the yard?
I mean, like, he can kill it. I don't know if Nick has any recursion. Like, some of these Bant decks run with Angels to recur their threats or something like that. Like, maybe 1 or 2
like Serenity.
Yeah.
Alright, so now we've lost the video completely.
Now be serenaded by our sweet voices. I don't know if
It's,
there's any-
I'm glad you guys are in here so that I can at least mask my, like, just unrelenting fury. Because I am so sick of what the kids would call this bullshit. That is the first time I've ever sworn on the stream, but
That's the Red Mage in Zach coming out right now.
I don't know why it's so hard to run a cable across this building.
He's probably going to hit us all with Searing Spear, and I am very afraid.
No, I'll stop it and start it again, but
Ping you in a
it looks like, all joking aside now, it looks like the signal strength that we're getting is very low, so I will try my best to fix that at the break.
Silver lining, we have the highlight of the night, Zach's first swearing on camera, so.
I'm not gonna post that again. I'm not proud of it the first time. I'm definitely not gonna immortalize it for the hit for.
But we will. Homework assignment, guys.
That's on his tombstone now.
Yeah.
You know what's
Swore on the
funny?
screen.
If you go to our Facebook page, you'll see the as we see a Huntmaster come down. or it's a Huntmaster on the stack, I should say. You remember last week when one of our viewers from Norway made the instant meme? Do you remember those?
This is magic, yes.
Yeah. It's quickly became the most highly liked picture in the history of our Facebook page. I almost didn't put it up there because it seemed like self-aggrandizing, but since it's self-deprecating, I figured it was okay.
As they say, sex sells, and what's sexier than that beard?
Only everything ever. It is very prominent and memorable, but it is not what I would say is good-looking.
We may have to have outside commentary from your wife on that one.
She doesn't mind it. I always tell her if she doesn't like it, I'll cut it off, but she says she don't mind.
Be careful when you say that to your wife.
All right, I don't like where this is going. Rakdos return for a smooth 2. It resolves. Nick bends the last cards in his hand and Azorius Charm and a Terminus that he clearly doesn't want to cast in this situation. And that's followed up by a Huntmaster. So now these gentlemen are playing against the clock, if anything. Less than a minute to go.
They went up there and ended up tied, right?
What's that artifact right there, next to the beast?
That is Elixir of Immortality.
Okay. Useless, basically.
Troy isn't drowning anybody. The Bant deck plays 1 Drown Yard and 1 Black Source.
It's good for the mirror match, I guess.
Yeah, I guess that would help if I knew what the decks were being played.
Yeah.
Your beast token is dead. Yeah. Wait, no, it's not. It's on his turn. Wow.
Oh, because he didn't cast anything. Oh, boy.
And now, Troy's got a... If Troy can cast 2 spells.
Huntmaster flips. Nugya. Play a Deathrite Shaman. Establish Inevitability. Nick down to 9.
Now you will die.
Up to 14. I'm going to go ahead and spend the elixir while he can.
9, 8.
That lifelink was pretty relevant then, right? When the Azorius Charm earlier?
Yes,
Yeah,
it
'cause
was.
He'd be pretty much close to being dead right now.
I think he would be dead. I think
Regardless of...
Because he was at like 16 or something, then he went to 27,
Yeah,
so...
and gaining 10, I mean, like, unless he had a way to bounce one of the Thrag Tusks, that was 10 life, even if he did block or not.
Yeah.
Very relevant.
And I'm just curious what Troy has in his Rakdos return and some creatures. I don't know if he has any other sorceries, but if he has enough, he can just kind of bleed him. And now we get time.
Well, theoretical time. I haven't heard JB call time exactly, but... It's funny because if you remember earlier, I was worried about this game being over, this match being over too quickly. There's 5 minutes left? Something is... JB did not stop that clock anywhere close to purposes only. Much like sports betting tips on ESPN. So Nick does find his Overgrown Tomb, so that will give him access to Drown Yard activation. So
Do you want to mill him now? Because now you're giving us Death Rush on with Father.
you probably want to mill yourself, I guess, but...
Yeah, that's going to be 2 life, but still, with a Ravager on the board, I don't think it's going to be worth it, really, to Safarsi, you know?
So he goes down 1.
Does Ravager have trample?
Yep.
Oh.
Yep, the flip side of Huntmaster does have trample.
But he already did damage with it. Like, that's...
And if he tops an Abrupt Decay, then he can get a Wolf token and 2 life.
Yep. Honestly, out of all the guilds, I was disappointed with Golgari's like actual cards mainly, but there's some random goodies like Death Rush Shaman, Abrupt Decay. Like those just were awesome.
It's very good in limited.
Another Thrag.
Yeah, so it's going to be hard for Troy to lose this game. If anything, he can at least go to time.
One of my favorite limited pulls is actually Sluice Wolf Scorpion.
Really?
Yeah, because I mean it's Death Touch and then you can scavenge it.
Yeah.
So you take one of their things out and then make something of yours stronger, or stop them from attacking, which is even better.
I feel like Rakdos and Golgari ended up with very poor mechanics.
I mean, Unleashed, I mean, in the standard format, yeah, it's Okay.
Rakdos was...
The greatest league polls in the history of Magic the Gathering. I popped a foil Rakdos and a Jace, and I'm playing straight up Rakdos now, but my pool is pretty insane.
I'd say.
Yeah. I didn't go Grixis, it's just straight red-black.
I think you're doing it wrong, then.
Well, I traded that Jace.
Oh, okay, well then you're doing it right.
Weakest states, when he was, like, still $50, I traded the crap.
Yeah, then that's fine.
Yeah.
Well, that was the thing, though. Everyone had to know. At $50.
Everyone didn't know that because then no one will trade you for it.
So, just finish up the game real quick here, guys. The Supreme Verdict. Deathright in response. Beast token comes down. Nick is at exactly 3. And I'm going to drag... That's not how Magic works. So congratulations to Troy King. Everyone who stuck with this, please wait briefly, as I am now going to pause the stream and start it again and see if that helps at all.
Ridic.
That's pretty dick.
Really good card.
Pretty ridic.
Considering that that's what,
Alright, hold on. Here, because spend a fair amount of time dragging all this crap around town and volunteering my time, and if I can't have internet connection, this is pretty brutal.
Alright, how are you connected?
Wireless. I looked at it where it should be, but
They're not willing to give you an Ethernet cord?
I don't want to talk about it anymore. Alright, I'm going to try and... Oh, the strength is coming up. Theoretically, it keeps increasing. Now it's hovering. So...
Power of Grayskull.
I don't know. This is going to be... No, then it just drops down again. Let me go out there and talk to JB and see if he's having problems with his internet.
Kind of funny if as soon as he left, it just goes right up.
That's how it always happens. I kind of want to play.
Even with the loss already in.
It's tough.
There's only 27.
There's 27. So I would eliminate the bye. I have to play.
I think so.
So let's talk about EDH.
One second. I'm going to see.
Jordan, who's your EDH commander currently?
Joyra.
Johora? Yeah, of the G2.
We
Okay.
have 4 viewers, so this is a good time to talk about EDH.
Yeah.
Joyra is the balls.
It is the balls. Especially in a format where, like, you can cast your commander and then whatever's in your hand, it's a big, gigantic thing, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
It's often not even like a repercussion either. You use, or who is it? She's a vampire girl. That's what I've always seen you play.
Oh, yeah. I'm actually going to commit some effort to the commander for my mono black vampire deck, and also Black Good Things, is Drana, the Calestria Blood Chief from Zendikar, and I'm going to try and connive a way for me to have...
So you're not playing anything tomorrow, are you? You're just going for trade?
We'll see.
See people?
We'll see. Yeah, well, it's live. I just don't know if. Hey, look at that. But I mean, it's not going to be good enough for. It's not going to be.
We have there were 4 people. Like, it showed up.
Look at you.
I figured we were gonna do this today.
Oh, it's working. I think it's working. The hard reset worked. I think we're good to go.
Hell.
Look at this. Boom. Not stop motion. Full-fledged. And look at that. I accidentally put you in the middle, and it conveniently is correct. So, for those of you who are watching, there's still 46 of you watching. Usuals, like I see, Chaz Dragon Tamer, Ultraviolence, 74, Descent, of course, in Australia, Brio's Freak, our dedicated stream followers. We appreciate you putting up with the nonsense. I don't know how much of round one was viewable. I don't know if any of it was viewable. But long story short, I did do some research, and as much as I whinged and moaned about the store's Wi-Fi, the store's actually been having some hardwired issues with their network connectivity. So clearly, doesn't matter how willing and able we are to do our broadcast, if the camera doesn't work, or if the internet doesn't work, then we are up against it. So they're going to start the next round pretty quickly. So we can at least let's just say we have a do-over. We'll just start it now. FNM starts now.
Welcome to.
We'll just take round one results out of the results. But do you guys want to talk about the spoiler? If I can file one up.
We already started cursing. We've done it once.
Yes.
Why not keep doing it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's. I do try to not curse on here, but I was very upset about the thing. And it seems even worse because it seems like I might have been slightly misdirected as far as the source of my anger. But
I'm not sure. Did they see what happened in Game 3 at all, or no? Basically, it became Thragtusk beatdown.
Yeah. So I think in issues like this, I think that as long as I kept recording locally, I should be able to post the round one in its entirety on YouTube. So we'll check that out later if you want to go back. But Troy King's Jun list ended up getting there. He won the spoiler fight, and the Deathrite Shaman kind of finished things off. So let's talk about these spoilers. Obviously, Gatecrash spoiler season in full effect. Last week we talked about a bunch. I post the links every day as they come out on the Facebook page, facebook.com/ZachSellsMagic. In no particular order, let's talk about some.
Okay.
Boom, Biovisionary.
It's Simic.
Why is Zach Vilianco not in here? Because if
Oh goodness, he did leave, didn't he?
well, he's still here, but if there was ever a Magic card that was designed for Zach Vilianco, it's this guy, because it involves a way of winning the game that is not traditional, and it is likely bad. So that means that Zach will try to find a way to use it. This, of course, is the man who's piloting Primal Surge Door to Nothingness. So Biovisionary, 1, a green and a blue for a 2/3 at the beginning of the end step, which I think is very interesting because it's the beginning of your end step, so you can win the turn that you cast it. You don't have to wait for a lot of these things. You have to wait for your upkeep, so it has to live the whole cycle around the EDH game. But at the end of the end step, if you control 4 or more creatures named Biovisionary, so either the 4 that you can play in your standard deck or copies, Cackling Counterpart, Rite of Replication is going to be the big one, Clone, stuff like that. If you control 4 of them, you win the game. Is there any chance Zach doesn't try to play this immediately once it comes out? There's 0% chance it's good, I tell you that.
You know what no one's talking about? Back from the brink, exiles it and make a creature token or whatever, like you cast it like normal, and then you can use all the populate from Celestia to do it on their turn.
Yeah, this is very busy. I don't think that will ever happen. If we're putting lifetime bets on that ever happening in a competitive environment. But I think this card is obviously designed for EDH. They are pairing up for round 2. We'll talk more about this card. This is more of a fun one. This is not going to. I guess there's a chance that they might print something like Clone Effect, and this becomes like a Sword of the Meek. What am I looking? Like a Dark Depths Hex Mage, where there's like something not very good but so narrowly interacts.
Yeah.
That seemed to work on the reboot.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay.
Yeah, and then. But you never know. It might show up. The equivalent of Vampire Hexmage might be waiting for us. So we've got round 2 pairings here.
Dragon's Maze just have a card that's just like, if you control 1 creature, now you control 3. You make 3 additional tokens of it.
Can we talk about Alkai Tyrant?
No, because we're going to round 2 feature match. So we're going to take a break here. The last few weeks it hasn't been pausing when I switch back to the feature match. But if it does, just wait for it. It'll come back. We'll have round 2 feature match here shortly.